So going to prison was absolutely the best thing that ever happened to me. The first thing that happened, I formed a relationship with God. I always, like I was saying, I knew God, you know what I mean? I knew Jesus and I believed in him, but I had no relationship.
Hey friends, and welcome back to the Empowered Life podcast, where we are awakening purpose and mobilizing people to step into their calling and to show how one empowered life can impact the lives of others. And man, are you going to see that today with our guests. So today we're talking about redemption and the power of mentorship. And just for me personally, I have always been drawn to the redemption story. I love that our past doesn't have to define us, and I think my passion for redemption and restoration comes from my own childhood, just being born into a broken home with patterns of divorce and dysfunction and drug addiction and alcoholism, all of that. But deep down, I always believed that my story didn't have to be this way, and that there could be another way, and that life could look very different. And so over time, I had the privilege of witnessing people in my life become completely transformed and set free and redeemed. And so I've also come to believe that that kind of transformation happens when someone chooses to walk alongside you and when you don't have to go about your journey alone. And this is the power of mentoring, of just having people in your corner who see your potential and believe in you. And so that, I think, is what fuels the work that I get to do today, working with orphans and vulnerable youth, because I believe with everything in me that an orphan's past doesn't have to define their future, and that everything can change when somebody steps into their life and believes in them like our allies mentors do. And so that is why I'm excited about our guest today. So we are with Shawn Serfass, and he is truly a picture of redemption and what it looks like when one empowered person goes on to empower other people. So Shawn has gone from a life of addiction and incarceration to being completely set free and radically redeemed. And now he is using his life to help other young people who are headed in a similar direction find a different new way forward. And so this is going to be a powerful story of hope and transformation and second chances and the power of walking alongside other people. And I can't wait for you to hear it and to get to meet Shawn. So thank you. We're so glad you're here.
Yeah, thank you so much. First of all, thank you so much for having me. This is really cool. The first time anyone ever asked me to share my story, it's really the first time that I realized oh my gosh, I have something to offer. Yeah. You know what I mean? So when you ask somebody to come in, and just know when you have a guest come in here and you ask them to come share their story, it's it means it's just as good for the person sharing their story, you know? So thanks again for having me.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. And I've actually heard that feedback from other guests that have come and said how much it blessed them to be able to just, because it's not your story, it's God's story. It's not just for you, it is for other people. So you can't keep it in. You got to share it.
Yeah, absolutely. We overcome by the blood of the Lamb and the sharing of our testimony.
Yes. So true. So when I met you, I've actually heard of you for years. I've heard about what you do that you're going to get to tell us about. But and I actually have you on my list when we started this podcast of who do I want to interview? It says Second Chance Mentors on there. Cool. And I had never even met you before, but I just knew a little bit about what you were doing. But anyways, when I got to hear your story, I thought we have to have you on the show, because your story of redemption and then the work you're doing now, it directly mirrors what we're all about and what we believe in. And so why don't we start there and take us back to, the brokenness and kind of what led to your incarceration and what you saw in that.
Okay. Well, I grew up in Virginia Beach, Virginia. My dad was military, so he would leave for years at a time. It was like Gulf War, Desert Storm time. Yeah. And I, me and my sister would be with my mom, and my mom's awesome, but she liked to party. She had a little, some problems with that. My dad would come home from the war and have to, round our family back up and, get everything back reorganized and restructured. And that was like our life for a while. And at around 12 years old, I thought I had the perfect family. Like I didn't realize we had any issues. I came home from school at 12 years old, and my mom was upstairs in the guest room, and she was crying. And I was like, Mom, what's going on? What's wrong? And she said, Shawn, I'm leaving. And I remember, where are we going, Mom? Like, what do you mean you're leaving? And she said, no, Shawn, like, I'm leaving. I don't want to do this anymore.
I don't want to be a mom anymore, or
I think both.
Yeah.
I think that she just kind of, and my mom still to this day is a free spirit. Like, I mean, she really is. Like, I feel like she's a great mom, right?
Yeah.
Like, I have a great relationship with her now, but she just kind of wanted to go do her own thing, And it broke me. It broke my sister. Really broke my dad. It was the first time I've ever seen my dad cry. He was heartbroken. And around that time, from Virginia Beach, we decided to move back to where my dad's from, which is Philadelphia. So my dad took me and my sister. We moved back to Philadelphia, and he did the best he could as a single dad. Like I remember eating he would make these big pots of, like, he called it goulash. It was like just random stuff mixed together, and that's what we would eat all week. Like, because he would leave at 4 a.m. to drive an hour to work. He would be there, and he was a teacher, and he retired from the military and became an NJROTC instructor, or whatever it's called,
junior ROTC.
That. And so he would be gone all day. School ends at 5 or whatever. He'd get home at 6, 7 o'clock. So I just had all this freedom.
Yeah.
And around that age, 13 years old, I started experimenting with drugs, hanging out in the woods, stuff, friends riding our bikes and smoking weed, stuff like that. And I don't know how else to explain it, but I really liked it. It
numbed you.
Yeah, exactly. It made me forget about all that, all the other stuff. And it just kind of just spiraled. I mean, I played sports. I was a good soccer player, so I was able to maintain that through high school. I actually had some good scholarship offers going into my senior year, and then my senior year I got arrested with marijuana and lost all those offers.
Wow.
I still ended up going to a Division II school in upstate Pennsylvania called Bloomsburg and playing there, but I pledged a fraternity, which was probably one of the worst ideas there, and ended up failing out of school. But I was using and selling drugs at that point. When I failed out of school, I would just stayed living in the frat house on the couch, selling and using drugs, not even in school. About that time, I had a close run-in with the police, and I called my mom, who was in Texas. My mom moved to Texas because this is where she's from.
Right.
And I called her and was like, Mom, like, I don't want this life. You know what I mean? Like, I knew, growing up when I was really young, my grandmother was like the hands and feet of Jesus. Like, she showed me what the Lord was all about.
Yeah.
And so I always knew who he was. And so like, I knew.
Would you say you had a relationship with the Lord? Or?
I don't think I would say that I had a relationship with him, but I would say that I believed in him.
Yeah.
And maybe like to where I didn't realize it, because I always had this conscience, like a guilty conscience that I know was him. You know what I mean?
Like just the Holy Spirit, like,
exactly,
this is not you.
Exactly. I never did things and didn't feel bad about them. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I always had this like deep conscience about it. So she said, okay, well, I'm not going to fly you down here. So she got me this Greyhound bus ticket. It took like 5 or 6 days to get from upstate Pennsylvania to Texas. And I remember that Greyhound bus ticket. I saw some things on that bus ride that like I wouldn't.
It was a crazy experience.
Yeah, it was a crazy experience. So I get to Texas and I'm like, okay, cool. It's a fresh start. I'm not going to, do the things that I was doing up there. And literally within a week, I was at the bar down the street from my mom's house doing drugs again.
Yeah.
Like,
it just followed you. I mean,
if you can change your location, but if you don't change what's going on up here, you're just going to run with the same, nothing changed.
Right.
So my mom goes, Shawn, you're not going to just move down here and live this same life. And I agreed with her. I was like, okay, you're right, Mom. I don't want this. That's why I moved down here.
Right.
So we decided that I was going to join the military. So I joined the Marines.
You're like 19.
I'm 20.
20.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I joined the Marines. And
Marines,
of
all things,
and I go out to San Diego, MCRD San Diego, and I make it through boot camp, and I was like thriving. Like, I was an awesome Marine, like I ranked up in boot camp, which is weird because I was a squad leader through the whole time. And, and I really liked it. I thought I found what, you know what I mean? I found it. We're good.
The accountability.
I needed that structure. That the problem was they let me go home on leave. That was the problem. So, which, obviously is a good thing to most people, but I go home on leave, and, I'm like, and I got a week So I'm like, oh, this is so fun. So I end up right back at the bar doing the same stupid stuff I did before. And
How long were you into the Marines when that
so
happened?
at this point, it was like 4 or 5 months.
Mm-hmm.
Then I come home, I go to a party. While I'm on leave, I end up getting high, thinking, oh, I've got at least 3 days. I'll be fine.
Mm-hmm.
I go back, and they give everyone a drug test. And I'm literally thinking I'm completely fine. Like, I have nothing to worry about. It was over 3 days.
Yeah.
And that's when I start AIT, advanced infantry training. So I go through 3 months of that again as a squad leader, like doing so good. And one day I'm out there, we're doing a practice mission, and they call Serfass, and I knew the second they said it, like I was sick to my stomach, like I knew. And they took me back to like the platoon headquarters or whatever, and they said, hey, Serfass, you popped in your drug test, pack your stuff, you're gone. And they put me in this, like, it's called like a legal platoon. And I tried to fight it for like 9 months. I tried everything to stay in. I had a lieutenant general speak for me at my hearing. And it was just zero tolerance. They kicked me out, which I deserved. It was my fault. I knew there was zero. I knew it was, no tolerance or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, I knew what it was. And so it was totally my fault. So I ended up going back to Texas.
So tell me, what did that do to you?
I made up these lies to everybody that was important of what happened. I made up lies to make that's so embarrassing,
shame.
But to try to make myself, I was so embarrassed. To make myself even look like like I was a victim. You know what I mean? I stood up for some kid that was getting picked on, and you know what I mean? I fought somebody and I got kicked out. I made up the whole story. I was just so embarrassed. So I get back to Texas, and my mom sells warranties on cars to used car dealerships, right? Okay. So she's like, well, I can get you a job selling cars. And I was like, cool, I'll do that. So she brings me out here to Arlington, right on Cooper. The dealership's still there, owned by the same people. And I start selling cars, and I'm good at it. I'm like, man, my first month, it was like tax season. I made like $10,000. I was like, wow, this is crazy.
Yeah.
Got myself a little apartment. I was doing good. And then I say I was doing good. I was still drinking, and I was still dabbling in stuff that I shouldn't have been doing. Like, I'd never got it all the way together. And then I meet my son, who was my first wife. And at this bar we meet, and she's on the run from the police. Like, she told me this like later on, like, literally our first date. Like, she tells me, I'm on the run for the police. I'm like, what? For what? And she's like, well, I sold or sell drugs. And I was like, what? And I couldn't believe it. So me, not being very smart at the time, literally the first date, I move her in with me, and I start running in the same circles, doing the same stuff she was doing.
Something about that lifestyle just felt
totally, and now after all the work I've done, I know what it was.
Okay.
I was so insecure that being like, when I was selling drugs, it gave me this false sense of being needed. It made me feel important. My phone always ringing, like, and I ate that up, even though I knew it wasn't real. Like, I knew that the friendships weren't real and all that, but something about being so insecure, it just made me feel important. It made me feel needed or valued. And so a couple months of that, she ends up, because she was on the run, we wanted to make our relationship real. So I said, hey, why don't we, let's go to your probation and try to like get you back reinstated and make, so you don't have to be on the run anymore.
Right.
We call her probation officer, and he goes, yeah, come on in. We'll do a walkthrough and we'll get you back set up. Well, we fell for it. I took her in there, and literally, like, she walked in the door and the sheriffs were there, arrested her, and she had to go away for a year. And during that year, she left me basically drug dealer in a box. Like, all of her connections, all of the drugs, all of her customers, all the money was like in my apartment. Wow. So instead of running this small, safe operation like she did, which, I'm not saying was okay, but I blew it up into this, look at me, all flashy, rims on my truck, loud stereos, jewelry, shoes. Like, I just, because it just fed off of that insecurity of like, look at me, I want to be important.
Right.
And so literally a couple of years of that go by, and she came home, and then my son was born. She came home, we got married, we had my son, Caden. And then after he was born, she relapsed, went back to jail. I was continuing to do what I was doing. And then after a couple months of that, so we're talking 2010, my door was kicked in by the DEA. And, you know, after all the sentencing and stuff, I get sentenced to 13 and a half years in federal prison. Wow. And it's like, that was my first, I got in trouble when I was 17, but this was my first time ever like arrested on a real felony charge. Yeah. And I always thought, oh, I'll just do this until I get arrested and then I'll get probation and then I'll stop. Like that was well, I skipped that whole level of probation and all that stuff. Instead of it being a state crime, it became a federal crime. Wow. And federal crimes don't have probation or anything like that. So, which was probably good, you know, like I needed it. I needed to be sat apart. You know what I mean? Like a guy told me yesterday, he said like, sometimes we need to be developed. And it's kind of like when you took that old roll of film and you took it to Walgreens and they put it in a dark room and it became like that's kind of what prison was to me. So going to prison was absolutely the best thing that ever happened to me. The first thing that happened, I formed a relationship with God. I always, like I was saying, I knew God. You know what I mean? I knew Jesus and I believed in him, but I had no relationship. Like I didn't realize
right off the bat. You
like literally like the first day of being in prison, right? The first day. It's a story I tell. It's kind of funny. I'm scared to death, right? I've never been to prison. I don't. Right. And this dude comes up, and I knew him from the streets, but I didn't really I was always scared of him. He's 6'6", tattooed from toenails to hairline, face tattooed. All this. He was like a general or some like lieutenant of like those white racist Aryan gangs.
Oh gosh.
And I'm like terrified of all. Like I'm so not anything like that. So he comes up to me and he goes, and I've always heard that they do these like heart checks and stuff like that, where when you come to jail and they're going to fight you to see how good you can fight or all this. And I'm like, I'm a bigger guy, but I don't want to fight anybody. Like that's not I've never been like that.
Yeah.
So he comes to my cell, closed the door, and he goes, look, he hands me a Bible, a bag of coffee, and goes, this is all you'll need for your whole bid. Stay away from gangs and just pour into the Lord, and walks out of the cell. I was like I started crying because I was so scared, and I was like, what? Like I thought that I was about to have to fight this guy.
Yeah.
And I still talk to that guy today. Like he's completely denounced all that gang stuff. And he's actually living out in Azle, and he's a good guy. He loves the Lord. He went to prison at such a young age that he was just kind of like grew up in that culture of, you know what I mean? Of like feeling that that's what he had to do. Yeah. And just, he was scared when he was young and just went into that lifestyle. But so anyway, so I'm in prison I ended up doing 6 years. Just continued to pour into my faith. I lost 100 pounds. I got 4 personal training certifications. I went to East Arkansas Community College and got an associate's degree. I led a Bible study that I was actually told I was not allowed to do because they told me when another Aryan person was like, you look like us. I know you don't run with us, but you look like us. And therefore you can't do this. Because I had a Bible study I didn't care what race they were. I didn't care what their crime was. But they were like embarrassed because they said I made them look bad. So one day they came up to my cell, closed the door, and those 3 guys actually did jump me. And I had to, but I fought as hard as I could. I lost, you know what I mean? But I fought as hard as I could, and I definitely didn't. After that, I continued the Bible study, and they never said anything to me about it again. So it was kind of a cool, you know what I mean? So I was proud of that, you know, I definitely got beat up, right? But
and you had every right to kind of give up and not keep the study going. But,
for sure. But I wasn't going to do that. I would have let them fight me again and again if I had to. I knew that eventually would stop because I definitely got a couple good punches in.
Yeah.
I mean, it's something I laugh about and I say, but it was more like I feel like this is something that I am called to do with this Bible study. Like there was people that needed it. There was people that were coming to the Lord. There was people who had never even heard of God. It was cool.
Yeah.
That Bible study was really big too. And it was because you don't see that. Prison is so segregated by race.
Really?
The white people eat with the white people, the black people, the Mexicans, the Asians, everyone eats separated. Everything is so separate. In this Bible study, everybody was mixed together. So it was really a cool thing.
Wow.
So I ended up getting to Texarkana, Texas, and doing this residential drug abuse program and getting a year off my sentence. There was a gun that I was charged with because it was at my house. But when they raided my house, they never found any drugs, or there was no drugs or money because I'd already stopped selling at that point because I had a close call that scared me. So they just found this gun, and then because the gun was there, they tied it in with stuff. But on an appeal, the judge gave me 5 years back off that. And then the president at the time gave everybody who had no violence on their charge 2 years off. So I ended up going from 13 and a half to 7.5 and doing 6.
Okay.
So I come home from prison, and my life goals, prison will knock you all the way down. My life goals at that point was to make $12.50 an hour as a personal trainer. I wanted to get a little efficiency apartment, like a little cheap car, and get custody of my son back. Like, did you feel totally healed and set free from addictions and the pain that kind of led you into that? Like, yes, I was scared because I knew that there was in prison it's very easy to stay clean. There's no distractions, and I was scared about how many times I've heard people say, "Oh, everyone just leaves that Jesus stuff at the door. Why even do that?" You know what I mean? And I didn't want to do that. Yeah. You know what I mean? Right. Like, so I was scared of that. Yeah. But I think that being scared sometimes is okay. Yeah. Like, it kept me from. You were aware of the temptation or that this transition wasn't going to be smooth sailing. It wasn't going to be easy for sure. Yeah. Were there people, before we get into what happened when you got home, were there people in that 6 years who believed in you and who walked alongside you and kind of empowered you? Absolutely. And that's such a good question. So I had a cellie in there who was a doctor who... What's a cellie? The person that lives in your room with you. Okay. They call it a cell, right? These terms. No, it's good. No, I didn't even think about that. So a cellie is a person that lives like a room about this size, and there'll be 2 sets of like 2 bunk beds in there. Okay. So 4 people living in this little room. Well, one of the guys was a doctor. His name was Sanford Myers, and he's the one that helped me with all my personal training stuff. He paid for it all. Because I started training all these guys on they call it the yard, which is the rec where you work out. Yeah. I started working out, and these guys started seeing me, like, because I was 300 pounds or really close, and I started losing all this weight. And these guys were like, "What are you doing? Can we work out with you?" And next thing you know, I had like 12 guys that I was training. And Doc goes, "Shawn, you have a gift for this. If this is something that you want to pursue, dude, I'll pay for your certifications and all your courses and everything." Because, he was still pretty successful. Yeah. So literally he paid for me to get all these certifications, and he was always just pouring into me. Yeah. We went to church together every Sunday. Like, I just got put with someone who was almost like a father figure to me or a mentor. Like, he was just so smart. And he just spoke life into me. You know what I mean? Which sometimes is what people need. Yeah. You need someone who sees in you what you don't see yourself. Right. So he was there. And during the whole time, like, my mom would bring my son once a month to come see me, because they would move us pretty far. Arkansas was like 7 to 8 hours away. It was almost near Memphis. And my mom would bring my son once a month, and I would take all these parenting courses, because when you finished a parenting course, you could get a day with your kid. So like, I would do, and like, just to like, when I say I was in prison, right? I was in a prison camp. Okay. So there wasn't even a fence around it. Like, if I wanted to walk away, I could walk away. But you're going to have the marshals follow you, and like, you can't really walk away. But because I had never had any sort of violence, like so it wasn't like maximum security. Correct. The first one was, but after that, because my points were so low, my security level was so low, every place I got transferred was like lower security, to where I was literally at the camp where there was like, it was safe. It wasn't like scary time or anything like that. Right. But the end of the sentence. So now I come home, and I'm in a halfway house. And like I was saying, I just wanted to get a job, $12.50 an hour. Like, that's really like, get your son back. Yep. Get a job. Because my dad was so awesome. And like, one of the things I wanted to do was I always wanted to be a good father. Like, I wanted to give my son what I had. Now, he was 6 years old at the time when I came home, but we did have a relationship because I saw him. I got 300 minutes a month on the phone, and I used 10 minutes every day to call him. Like, wow. So it's like, I would talk to him. The first 3 years was just him, hey, put the phone up to his ear, let me talk to him so he can hear my voice, Wow. But as we got, 4, 5, 6, he was actually able to have conversations. And that says so much, just in the power of consistency and just being present. Like, you couldn't physically be present, but you wanted to be a consistent presence in his life. Yeah. I just wanted him to, I wanted to be the dad that I had. That's really the only way. But you're right, consistency. And that's something that when we get to the mentorship part at the end, that's huge. I feel like that's the biggest key to mentorship in general, or fatherhood, right? Yeah. So I get this job at a gym called Flawless Fitness, or Fit Body Boot Camp. And the owner, who actually happened to have had a background too. And he was like, "Yeah, I'll hire you." He goes, like, all the best trainers I've ever had came out of prison. So this guy gives me a job, and I'm so proud of it. Like, I'm busting my butt training for this guy. And I'm like in the mall passing on my cards and just like so proud of what I was doing, you know, literally making $12.50 an hour.
Yeah.
And after about a month, there's this girl there who I start, you know, I didn't even know, it's kind of funny. I didn't even know how to flirt because it had been so long since I had talked to a girl that I just kind of like stared at her until she realized I was staring at her. You know what I mean? It was probably creepy. I didn't know what else to do. She was probably like, why is this guy staring at me?
Yeah.
But it worked. She found me on Facebook and like friend requested me. And so we became friends. We started talking. And after about a month or two, she goes, Shawn, like, we should open our own gym. And I laughed and I was like, yeah, that's cool. We should. I was like, I have a 490 credit score and $17 to my name. Like, I can't open a gym. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because, you know, in prison, like I always had good credit, but in prison, you can't pay your bills. So everything goes bad.
Right.
So we laughed and I thought that was the end of it. I actually thought I might have lost her when I told her my credit score, but she stayed around.
She stuck around.
And a few months later go by and she says it again, Shawn, I really feel the Lord's telling me that we need to open a gym. Like you're bringing all these people into this guy's gym. Like I love people, you know what I mean? I'm pouring into everybody, anyone I can bring confidence to. And I was like, Christy, you know, I don't have the resources for that. And she goes, Shawn, like, I know you don't know this, but I have the money. And I was like, what? I was blown away. I had no idea.
Right.
I had no clue that she had money like that.
Yeah.
So within the first year of getting out of prison, the first thing we did was she helped me file for divorce with my first wife. And it was not ugly at all. Like we agreed, you know, to kind of like, hey, this is the best for both of us. Our past involved drugs and you know what I mean? And she was still kind of in and out of that lifestyle. And I knew I could have nothing to do with that. So in that, she willingly and like gave me the rights or full custody of my son. Oh, wow. So the first thing that happened was the divorce and I got custody. Then me and Christy got married, and then we opened the first gym all within 1 year of getting out of prison. Wow. Which has nothing to do with me. Like I couldn't have wrote that myself. It was all God. Like I'm nobody special when it comes. You know what I mean? Like I'm just a regular person. He
had bigger plans.
Bigger plans, yeah. And I was thinking, man, this is it. Life's great. I made it. This is, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like the first month of opening that gym, which is like almost unheard of, not only were all the bills paid for the gym, but we were making enough money to pay the mortgage at home. Some gyms take like 2-3 years to get profitable.
So it's just God's favor.
It was
all over it.
And favor ain't fair, right?
Yeah.
That's it. But
that's good.
But it was literally, I mean, I can't think of it has to be God's favor. You know what I mean? Like, because I was nothing special. There was people around here running gyms that knew more about fitness than me, had been doing it longer. You know what I mean? Like I was nothing special.
Well, it's you say that, but I feel like your heart and your why behind it might have been.
I think people liked, because I've been open with my story since day one.
Yeah.
Like I didn't hide that, you know?
Right.
So I think that people wanted to be part of a redemption story too.
Yes.
So I think that was cool for people. But so the gym's going strong for about 2-3 months. It's like we've just built this awesome community. And one day this homicide detective for Arlington asked me, hey, you think you would come share your testimony with Turning Point Academy, which is Arlington's alternative school. So if a kid gets kicked out of school in Arlington, they send them to Turning Point.
Yeah.
Ours here is called Phoenix or BIC. It's called BIC. So I was like, really? You want me to come share my story? Like I was saying,
to high school kids or junior high school.
High school kids. And it's the same thing that like when in the beginning of this podcast, when I said, thank you so much for, inviting me. It makes me feel, that was the first time that I ever felt like, you want to hear my story? Like I'd never thought of like, even that I was going in the direction of like something that could, empower or motivate people. Like I just thought that this is just my story. I never thought of, man, I could share this with people and it could help. So I go to this school and and I'm talking. So the principal's like, be careful with these kids. These kids are rough. And you know what I mean? And I'm like,
you don't scare me.
Okay. Yeah. Like what? I wore like some really special Jordans, like Dior Jordans. And the kids are like, oh, those shoes are so cool. Like just because I knew I was going to connect with them.
Right.
And at the end, the counselor comes out and first of all, these kids were asking awesome questions. They made direct eye contact the entire time. Wow. They were so respectful.
So these are kids that have been kicked out of school permanently, or
they can get back into their school.
Okay.
So they get like a sentence, 30, 60, 90 days in this alternative school. The crime or the crime, whatever you want to call it. The infraction, So these kids were asking the greatest questions. They were like, and at the end of it, the counselor comes out and goes, he hadn't even seen these kids act like this before. You know what I mean? He's used to like, hey, pay attention, pay attention.
Right.
He didn't have to do that at all. These kids were just
they were engaged,
dialed in. Yeah. So he goes, something's different. He goes, let me ask you guys a question. How many of you guys have a male like role model or father figure in your life whatsoever? And like 3 of the 33 kids raised their hand.
Wow.
And like literally driving home, like I could, whatever. I'm not a tough guy. I was crying. I was like, okay, God, like I get it.
Yeah.
Like you just showed me where a need is that I can help fill, you know? So it was no more than like, I think
you had a great dad,
you
know, but.
And so I just took that for granted sometimes.
Yeah,
I didn't realize like there's so many kids that don't have that, you know? Like, I mean, I knew kids that didn't have dads, but I never made that connection of how it really, something like 85% of men in prison don't have a dad.
Wow.
Like there's a correlation, you know what I mean? Like there's definitely a correlation between the two things.
Yeah.
So driving home, and like I said, I was literally in tears saying, God, I hear you.
Yeah.
That night I got on like LegalZoom and I'm like filing for the 501c3 nonprofit and having no clue. I don't know anything about nonprofit. I've never even heard of a nonprofit. Like I don't know anything about what's going on, but I just felt called to do it. Luckily, there was a principal that worked out at our gym that I shared the vision with, and she goes, oh my God, Shawn, like I got you. So she hooked me up with who at the time, the principal at the Phoenix Academy, her name was Regina Crane. She's an awesome woman. She's like, I don't know if you've ever seen The Shack. Have you ever seen The Shack, the movie?
Yeah.
Where at the end, like God's representation, it's like a black woman. It's like Aunt Jemima.
Oh, yeah.
So she totally reminds me of like, she's just like
already.
Love.
Yes.
And
just
like pours out.
Jesus.
Oozes Jesus. Yeah. And her husband's a pastor. She's just an amazing woman. And dude, like my program got birthed like completely out of like her. And like, she saw the vision, and then she took me to the assistant principal whose name was Dr. Maybury, who's still there.
Yeah. So
and
what was the vision that you had at that time?
So I wanted to figure out how to start a mentorship program where, and I meet the kids in the school at BIC.
Yeah.
But my program is outside of school focused. Okay. So like, that's where I go in, I teach lessons, I hang out with the kids, but I wanted to, and I don't really even know necessarily. I just knew I wanted to start a mentorship program for these, you know, I don't like using the term at-risk youth. I mean, that's exactly what it is. Something about the term at-risk, I feel sometimes gets like a race label to it. And I don't really like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because there's at-risk kids that are in all races and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I don't really.
Would you say vulnerable youth?
I like that better. I think vulnerable youth is better, or just, you know, lost.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Hurting.
Like direction, like needing direction kind of thing. I mean, at risk is the right term.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just,
but you're right.
it gets used sometimes with, and I don't like that, you know, because there's kids of all races without dads and without, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So anyways, so I end up getting the program dialed in of what we actually want to be. Right. So what it is I go to the school, hang out with the kids. They have to apply to be in the program. They have to go home with whoever their guardian is, whoever has the authority to give them permission to be in the program. Yeah. And they fill out an application. And then the parent signs off on it. We go to, and this is what they have to do. They have to do every month, they have to do short-term, long-term goals with a mentor. They have to do 2 hours of community service, which is the most important part of it to me whatsoever. I think service will literally change a person's life when you start serving. They have to have good attendance in school. I had grades on there, right, originally. But then I realized some of these kids...
Meaning like passing grades or...
Yeah, I mean, just C's or above.
Yeah.
But there were so many of these kids that were... It's really hard to be focused on your grades when you go home and you don't have anybody asking to see your report card. Like, I don't know if my dad wasn't so like, hey, where's your report card? I don't know if I would have cared about my grades.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
they're dealing with sometimes so many bigger
exactly.
Yeah,
these kids are trying to figure out.
School is like at the bottom of the
so
list.
True.
Yeah.
One of our kids had to drop out of school because his mom hurt her knee and couldn't work, and he had to get a job. Like they were going to lose their apartment. They didn't have nowhere to go. So we got him, signed up with, online school to where he's able to finish school through that. But I guess it's just school. I didn't want them to feel like if you're not getting straight A's or, A's, B's and C's or whatever, that you're not like still being successful. So a lot of the kids end up going to the Phoenix Academy, which is an amazing program where they can go at their own pace. They can like literally do like a whole semester of school in like 2 weeks.
Okay.
So it's better for some of these kids, you know?
Right.
So my goal is just to get them graduated. Like,
so to be in your program, recap the requirements.
I think I'm still short one, right?
Okay. Are
so
you?
we have short-term, long-term goals,
Service.
community service. They have to have a sit-down meeting with a mentor once a month. They have to have good attendance, and I think that's it. I think those are all the things. So if they're doing those things twice a year, we take them to the mall and buy them a pair of Jordans. So that's like their award. That's how I trick them into the program. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
So
well, we all need a little carrot.
I know,
to
it's
dangle.
so funny.
Yeah.
And I've shared this, like, I go to like Rotary clubs, like where I met you, and
Yeah.
I've shared this with people. And every once in a while I come across someone who's like, well, they don't have shoes. Like, what do you need to get them? What do they need shoes for? And it's not really necessarily that they don't have shoes. It's just like the power of a pair of like new shoes to some of these kids is like their attendance is better, their confidence is better. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there's so many things that can come off of, now they're proud to go to school and show off their new shoes,
Yeah.
like,
yeah.
So it's just,
It's like an outward symbol of,
it's,
and just they feel seen.
and they've earned them.
Yeah.
And they've earned them. So like
That's
now
good.
we're teaching them that it's not all about handouts. It's about, hey, you do the work, you earn
Yeah.
it. It's, and I
Yeah,
want
you
them to
reap
realize
what
that that's
you
how
sow.
life is. You know what I mean? Like,
that's good.
instead of just getting used to like getting stuck in that, victim handout mentality, which you'll never outgrow that. You just, and a lot of and that's really common with a lot of these kids,
Right.
So
you want better, you have to do better.
Yeah,
and then
you have to put in some work and then you get rewarded for it. Yeah, exactly.
That's
So
great.
so the program and we take them, we alternate. So 1 month they do the community service on their own, and then the next month we do it as a group. But then the month they do it on their own, we do a fun activity. So we take them to Mavericks games, we take them to Top Golf, we've taken them to like really, really, really nice steakhouses where I make them get dressed up because I want them to know that like, hey, I know, like they're like.
That's actually how I found out about you guys, because I saw a Facebook post of
Really?
you all at Meehan's.
Yeah, isn't it? That was my favorite event we've had.
Okay.
Because a lot of them were like.
Meehan's is like fine dining.
It's about as nice as it gets. Yeah.
Right.
And a lot of them were like uncomfortable, like Mr. Shawn, like how I even one of the kids said, "There's no one in here that looks like us, Mr. Shawn." You know what I mean? Like, or like.
So what's your goal in that? What is it that you're?
I want them to know that they belong, and like there's no places that are just for people that look like me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
I want them to know that they belong anywhere
and
that
to
they
feel comfortable.
Yeah,
in
and
any
confident
of
in
these.
that, because what happens is they don't. It's just. I don't know. Race, it's so funny. It's so hard to get into the race conversation, but it's a big part of what we deal with.
Yeah.
A lot of times in the beginning, I've had kids that parents wouldn't let them in the program because they were like, what does this white man want to do with you? You know what I mean? Like, and it's not, and I don't say that to judge the parent for that. They've probably gone through something or they have an experience that leads them that way. And I totally have like, it's grace towards that. Like, I'm so sorry, whatever you've been through that's caused you to feel that way. Like, that's awful, and I'm so sorry. Like, but it's
you're
not
trying to break that down.
That's what I want. Yeah, and I've always had that feeling since a young kid. My dad instilled to me the importance of diversity. I'll never forget at like a super young age. I had an opportunity to go to a Catholic high school to play soccer, and up there, Catholic schools are like the private schools, like the real bougie sports, and they recruit and my dad said, you know what, Shawn, like. We wouldn't even have to pay. I had a full ride scholarship. And he goes, Shawn, I want you to stay in public school because I think the value of diversity and the value in the real uppity Catholic schools, they were not diverse at all.
Right.
It was all, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So my dad was like, and I'm not Catholic, but that's Catholic schools can recruit to go.
Right.
So he was like, no, Shawn, I want you to understand the importance of diversity. I want you to stay in public schools to where you can learn how to deal with everybody. And my dad always had very diverse friends.
Yeah.
So it was just something that my dad always instilled in me. And I've seen so many of my friends growing up in Philadelphia is very, very black and Puerto Rican, right? Like a lot of my friends were black and Puerto Rican growing up. And I saw a lot of my friends get to a point and then not try to pursue what they could have been because they just didn't think that some of those opportunities were for them. You know what I mean?
There's like a ceiling.
Yeah, like, oh man, Shawn, that's not for me. That's cool. That's for them white boys go to college. You know what I mean? Like, I can't have no way to go to college, Shawn. That's not. Or even just like trying to and I'm talking super smart young men that could have done anything they wanted to, but fell into that, that mindset of, oh, that's not for me. That's for them. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
And it just, that always broke my heart. So like, I always wanted to try.
So you're very passionate about helping them see.
Yes, but I have to try to do it without being that like white savior complex.
Yeah.
So it's such a fine line of how to
Yeah.
do that. Like
Right.
and luckily people I feel like have always seen my heart in that. So they knew that it wasn't about look at me.
Yeah.
It's like, how can I just elevate you and me? I'll stand in the background. I don't, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's always been a touchy,
Yeah. Something
and
that
it
you-
still is to this day, you know, like,
Yeah.
because I want these kids to know, like, I don't have any ulterior motive whatsoever in any of this, you know,
Right. Yeah.
like we were talking about earlier, we don't get paid.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we don't get paid for, like, it would be cool if down the road it became something where that was possible. But
Right.
my goal is just to really figure out how I can help these kids, you know, to
Right.
see that they can do whatever. Oh, so that was why we take them to these nice restaurants.
Yeah.
I want them to know that you belong here. Like,
Just to
this is
expose
not,
them.
yeah.
Right. So the serving opportunities, tell me more about that. So you said once a month y'all serve
Yep.
together. You pick a project.
Yeah.
And then sometimes they have to serve on their own
Yeah.
somewhere.
So a lot of times when they do it, theirs isn't as, when they do it themselves, I mean, they're like, oh, I went to my grandmother's and you know, it's not as in depth as I'd like it to be.
Right.
I don't even know if they all do it. You know, like sometimes they'll take a picture, they'll like take a trash bag and go out in their neighborhood and they'll come back with trash. I'm like, cool, you had to get outside of yourself for whatever long, you know. Hopefully they didn't just, you know, go to their garage and take the trash bag out and like, Mr. Shawn, I got,
Yeah.
you know.
Right.
But
It's a risk you take.
Worst case scenario,
yeah.
they're doing, you know, 6 months, they're doing real community service,
Yeah.
you know.
Right.
So we have an adopted highway over there off Lillian Highway with our signs. You know, this street is adopted by Second Chance Mentors. So we clean that up. Mansfield Mission Center, we trimmed all their trees and we redid their flower bed outside of the sign, made it real nice. Last Saturday, we were at Mansfield Mission Center, the actual thrift store,
Yeah.
sorting the items that get dropped off. There's just...
How do you see that serving is helping them? Like what's the connection there?
Good question. And I think it's huge. It's easy to get stuck in this like self-pity, woe is me mentality. But I feel like when you start serving and you realize like, man, I don't have it that bad, you know, like that's why I really, or it's just like,
or you see other people who are struggling and hurting and it
yeah,
just
and
kind
you're
of
like,
takes your eyes off yourself.
yeah, of yourself. I think it gets your eyes off of your own problems for a little bit of time. And, you know, it's like, cause when we serve at the Mansfield Mission Center, even at the clinic and we're doing tree trimming, I make sure that they understand that, yeah, you're just trimming trees right here, but this clinic is for people that don't have any sort of health insurance. And this clinic is for people that don't have dental insurance. So yeah, we're trimming the trees, but it's bigger purpose than just trimming trees, you know? So we try to show them that side of it, you know, that there's more to it than just trimming trees or whatever the work is for that time.
Have you found that after they serve, there's a difference, that there's more purpose or a light about them?
100%. It's so funny. One of the kids texted me yesterday and said, Shawn, thank you for last Saturday. It was awesome. And I was like, wow, like all we did was sort bins but they did a great job. They did a great job of explaining, like when you serve there, the guy did a great job of explaining like who the clothes are for and how the program works. And, you know, and he prayed for everybody before we started. And he just like, he really brought Jesus into it. Like, you know what I mean? You're being the hands and feet of Jesus. And so we really like to bring faith into it, which is definitely hard to do in the school. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like,
but this is all stuff you're doing outside of the school.
Outside, yeah.
You just meet them in the school.
So I go once a week and she'll bring me a group this is why they've been so amazing. She'll handpick who she thinks would be good for our program. And then I'll meet with them and I'll tell my story and then I'll talk to them about if they want to be in the program and sometimes I don't even pitch the program. I can tell if it's right. Sometimes I'll just listen to what they have going on. Yeah. You know, so it's not always like just a pitch to get kids. Right now we have 14 kids in the program right now. We've graduated about 5 or 6. Okay. They're not necessarily out of the program when they graduate. They're still included. They can come to all the community service. They can do, but we stopped doing like the shoes and stuff. Yeah. You know, so it's like that gets you through graduation. Right. And then we'll try to help them like with jobs or whatever we can do at that point.
Have you ever had any of the graduates be a part of mentoring?
Yeah. Not necessarily mentoring, but coming back and doing community service. That would be a cool way to do it. But to be honest, I don't feel like at 18 these kids are really even ready yet
Yeah.
to mentor 16.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
they still
they're
look at
not
them
well removed.
yeah, I think they
enough.
might need a couple years of like a job under their belt or
Yeah.
a couple years of, college or whatever their plan is next. I don't think that they're necessarily 18 to 22 are still really hard years.
Yeah.
So all the kids that we're still in contact with all of them,
Yeah.
even after they graduate, because they're not ready to just,
Right.
go on, you got it now just because
Yeah.
you graduated high school.
Right. So how do you measure success?
Good question. So them going to attendance is a huge one, right? Like if they're going to school, like that's a big one because a lot of these kids they don't, that's what a lot of the kids get sent over there because they stop going to school and they get on the, but graduation is a big one. You know what I mean? If they're working towards graduation, but you can also just tell a difference in like who they are as people, like the kids just start to no, don't get me wrong. We've had kids that have joined the program and they show up, they do the stuff, they get their shoes and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
they weren't in it for the right reasons.
Yeah, but they do their community service, and like
you have to believe that you planted some seeds.
Yeah, and that's some of it. That's all it is. Some of it is just planting seeds. And I can't lie, it does hurt my feelings when, and I have to learn how to not take it personally. But when a kid that I've been working with gets in trouble again for something or gets sent back, I've had a couple of kids that go back to, because at BIC they're on a sentence, like I was saying at the other school. So after they finish their sentence, I don't know if they call it a sentence, but they 30, 60, 90 days where they go back to their school, whatever their main school was. And then sometimes they get in trouble, get sent back. And like, I used to really take it like, oh my gosh, like how could you, we're trying so hard to help you. How could you get, you know what I mean? But I have to realize that.
Well, you just love them. Just like they're your own boys,
It's just grace, just give them grace and love on them. And just, hopefully that it's only one time they come back. There's definitely a couple of kids that have been back multiple times. But we didn't choose to pick to work with the honor roll students. You know what I mean? Like
that's right.
Like
it's not a quick fix.
Yeah. Some of these kids, they could easily end up in prison or juvenile hall or, so it's, I just have to remember that.
Yeah.
That these kids, I know it's a tough, some of them are pretty tough around the edges or whatever, rough around the edges.
Yeah. Can you think of any stories in particular of boys who you feel like mentorship really changed them?
Yeah, absolutely. So
tell me that.
My favorite story is actually the first kid that came into the program. His name's Jerry. And when we met him, he had just been kicked out of school for like, I don't know, like vaping in a bathroom or something. And he's got it pretty rough. He lives in an apartment with just his mom. His dad had told him, literally, this is no exaggeration, every month for the past 4 years, he lives in Waco. And his dad has said every year for the last 4 years that he was going to come visit and has not come one time. Not come one time.
Wow.
Like literally. And so Jerry just went all in on the program. Like we just kind of like connected. And like, I mean, we text all day long. He's still to this day. So he
prior to meeting you, he was just lost.
I feel like he just had no like guidance, no structure. He didn't really, you know what I mean? Like his mom, he's got a great mother, awesome woman, but she was literally working 3 jobs just to pay the rent.
Yeah.
So like she didn't have time to supervise him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So he went back.
As you saw that can.
That's the same thing that happened to me.
Yeah,
like literally to a T. So good correlation. Yeah, that's so true. So he got back into his main campus, right? Got back on the football team. He was like the student, like for his junior year or sophomore year, he was like the student council vice president.
Wow.
Literally like, like went to homecoming. I always I got to try to tell the story without crying. His mom called me when he was going to homecoming and she said, Shawn, we need you. And I was like, what's going on? And I was at dinner and she's like, no one here knows how to tie a tie. You know what I mean? So like, he was all dressed up. We bought his whole outfit and stuff, but no one in the house like knew how to tie a tie.
Wow.
So I left the dinner and I flew over there and his mom, when I was tying the tie for him, I looked back over it and his mom was just bawling, bawling. I have pictures of it that she like took pictures and stuff. And she was so appreciative. She was like, Shawn, we didn't know what to do. Like they had tried YouTube videos. They couldn't figure it out. But it meant the world to me to be able to be that person, at that time for him,
Yeah.
So since then, he's the one who he's a senior this year.
Okay.
He did actually like, I don't want to call it drop out of school. He stopped attending school and he's doing school online because he had to get a full-time job at FedEx because his mom tore her meniscus and she's not able to work, and he's working full-time at FedEx and paying the bills at the house. Like he had to step up for that. It was really not even a question for him at the time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when he came to me, I said, okay, well, I understand like what you're saying you need to do. We're going to get you enrolled in online school where you can, at night, you can take your, whatever class or whatever you can do. And that's what he's doing. So I don't feel like he's like, he's still, he's going to finish with a diploma, not a GED.
Yeah.
So he's still, and he's working full time, I mean, he's making 20.
That's honorable.
He's 17 or no, he's 18 now. And he's making like 20 something dollars an hour at FedEx. Like he's doing good.
Yeah.
And he loves it. He's like, he's lost like, he was a big boy. He was like 300 and something pounds. Wow. And now he's down to like 190 because he's slim and trim because he's just working because they load these. Yeah. Right. Like he looks awesome.
Yeah. But I think even in that, there's so many beautiful things that he's learning in that.
Yeah.
Like he could have just dropped out of school, but but taking care of his family and working is honorable too. And
that's how I feel about it too.
Yeah.
I always try to tell him, like, because he feels, you could tell he feels guilty about it. Like he feels like, because when I ask him, I'll be like, hey, where we at on school? And I think that he like wishes he was further along even in his, but he works full time. It's hard to, so we just give him like, it might take him a little extra time than normal to finish, but he's going to finish. And he knows he has us for accountability. So we're on his butt.
You're not going to let him slide.
No, definitely not going to let him not graduate. That's not an option.
But this is a prime example of a kid that he's a good kid.
He's a really good kid, yeah.
On the surface, you might not have seen that back in the day when he was getting in trouble, and but he really just needed somebody to believe in him. Yeah,
that's really, I mean, it's so funny. He'll text me probably like yesterday. So he had to finance a car, right? Or him and his mom had to go finance a car, and they totally took advantage of him. You know what I mean? Like they gave him like they got like some 20-something% interest rate.
Oh yeah.
Like he did the math on a $17,000 car, and like he's like, Shawn, I added up how many months and then how much I have to pay each month. I'm going to pay $50,000 for this $17,000 car.
Yeah.
And I was just like, it broke my heart. And I was like, I wish you would have called me while you were sitting there, but he didn't make a good decision because he needed the car so bad. He felt like you know what
desperate.
I mean?
Yeah.
So we actually were we were donated a truck. It was like a 2000 F-150. It was not a nice truck, but we got it all working and everything. We got all the work done on it, and we gave that to him. I did all of his driver's ed. So I forget how many hours, but every time I would just go pick him up after school, and I would let him drive me around.
Wow. That's awesome.
Yeah, he would just drive me around to all like my roof inspections and stuff.
Yeah.
So that's how he got his hours for driver's ed.
Oh wow.
They let me be his like driver's ed instructor.
So the truck went kaput.
It broke.
And he had to get something else.
It definitely was rough. It broke down a couple of times, and we helped him fix it a couple of times, but it was not. I mean, it was rough.
Yeah. Wow.
But it was better than nothing to start for him, you know, so he could get to work and stuff. But
that's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, I want us to spend some time talking about the power of mentorship, because I think that is what is obviously so aligned with Allies and what Second Chance Mentors is doing, and just the transformation that comes from mentorship. Yeah. So, first of all, how would you even define a mentor?
I would say it's someone that walks alongside you. You know what I mean? Like it's not like a parental relationship where they're like above you. It's more of someone that can walk alongside you, but has, like, I like to say when looking for a mentor, to find someone who has done what you want to do or is in a place that you want to get to. So like someone who you can learn from their mistakes of what not to do, as well as, you know, they can give you advice of what to do. Yeah. But even on a deeper emotional aspect, it's just someone that cares. You know what I mean? Because a lot of, like, someone who asks questions, just someone who's available. I literally think mentorship is the key to success. Like, I really do. Yeah. Yeah. And all, like, whether it's a kid to an adult, I mean, I have mentors, you know?
Yeah. Right. Just the power of walking alongside someone so they don't have to figure it out on their own. And
if they fall down, someone that can pick you up or hold you accountable. That's a huge one.
Yep.
Just.
I've shared this on the show before, but my dad was a recovered drug and alcohol addict. So he was 30 years sober, and spent those 30 years walking alongside other people
Yeah,
in their
that's
journey.
awesome.
And he recently, oh, I say recently, it feels like it was yesterday, but I think it's been about 3 years ago that he passed away. And we knew it was coming, and that, he was terminally ill. And so in the like month leading up to his passing, the door was just a revolving door of people coming and just telling him like how he saved their life. He
How cool
saved
is
their
that?
marriage. You
Yeah,
saved my relationship with my kids. And he I don't think he even realized it. Like he
yeah,
didn't, like, it wasn't, to him it was like, I'm just doing, I'm
that's
just
so good.
walking alongside people because somebody walked alongside me.
It just
And
shows he wasn't doing it for the like, oh, good job. You know what I mean? He was
yeah,
doing that was just
yeah,
what he felt called to do.
that's right. It really was.
It also shows how like God will allow us to walk through something like addiction, because if he hadn't gone through the part of being an addict,
Yeah,
he wouldn't be able to save all those other people.
100%.
So
Yeah.
it's like, even though some things look like, and how could that happen? Sometimes there's a purpose to it, you
Oh
know?
yeah. Well, and
That's
even
cool.
I didn't struggle with addiction, but seeing that, those months leading up to his passing and his funeral, I mean, I've never seen anything like it. It was standing room only full of people praising him for his work. And he was the most humble, like you would not have known it,
That's
like
so cool.
leading up to that moment. And it changed me. Like that's when I was making a killing in real estate, and I felt like the Lord was like, okay, we're shifting gears. You're doing something different, because there's something about walking alongside people
Yeah.
and champion. I can't say that word. Say it for me.
Championing,
Now we both can't. Yeah.
championing.
Yeah. Cooper, can you say it? There, people. And just calling out the gold in them and
Yeah.
saying like, I believe in you and you're not alone, and let's do
It's
this
so good. Yeah.
together. And so,
That's it right
yeah,
there. That's the,
right. So there's four things I was thinking more about, like, what do the allies mentors really do and why does this work? And these are kind of four things I see in the program that I would love to get your thoughts on and just your experience as well. But the first thing I think mentoring does is it helps to restore identity in people. And at its core, it's basically saying, I see you, I see value in you, I see your potential that maybe you don't even see.
yeah.
Have you noticed that to be
Yeah,
true?
absolutely. And the world beats you up. You know what I mean? Like the world will put titles on you
Yeah.
that is not what God is
To
calling for
define
you.
you.
Yeah. So I think that that's something that a mentor can do is, speak life into you. And like you were just saying,
Yeah.
speak the gold, pull the
Yeah.
good stuff out of you.
Right.
Because it's easy to get stuck in that, like, oh, I went to prison. I'm a felon. I'm an addict.
Mm-hmm.
But then you have someone saying like, man, your story helped me
Yeah.
change, like,
Or even your Selly, that guy that
yeah,
said, you're really good at this, and
yeah, that's
you
exactly.
have a way of helping people, and
Yeah.
like it makes you go,
And
that's
sometimes
me.
we might not even, yeah, like you just
Yeah.
said, sometimes we might not even realize it.
Right.
We might not even realize it's a gift. It's just something we're used to doing or
Yeah.
something. So we don't, so 100%, I think that's a good one.
Okay.
That's a,
So the second one is just mentoring creates belonging. And I think that belonging is something, it's like at the core, a need that we all
Yeah.
have, is to feel safe with someone and to
Yeah.
feel like you belong. And I think a lot of times, whether it's an orphan who has been completely abandoned,
Yeah.
or some of the boys that you are working with, having someone who's consistently present and that they can trust is why mentorship is so transformational.
that's so good. And I think that you hit the nail on the head. When someone
Mhm.
asks me like, what is the key to mentorship? I'm going to say it's consistency.
Yeah.
A lot of these, let's say the orphans, for instance,
Mhm.
they've had family or whoever
Mhm.
in and out of their life, right? Or
Mhm.
eventually just like ditched them,
Yeah.
or, so a lot of these young men in the program, it takes us a while of consistency for the kids to actually even like take part in the
Yeah.
mentorship program.
There's just a wall up.
Yeah, they're like, man, this is just another guy who's going to
Yeah.
show up or ditch me like my dad did. He's going
Yeah.
to say he's going to come and he's not.
Mhm.
So a lot of times when I bring in a mentor to the program, this has happened multiple times. They're like, Shawn, I don't know, man. I just don't really feel like the kids are connecting with me. I don't feel like I'm like a part. And I said, bro, just keep showing up.
Yeah.
Just keep showing up.
Yeah.
And just watch some kid eventually. And it happens every time. All of a sudden, after like week 6 of that mentor showing up, the kids are you start to see them dapping them up and like, hey, Mr. So-and-so, you know what I mean? Like,
the walls kind of start coming down.
But these kids, like, you got to prove yourself to them. They've been hurt. They've been left. They've been, you know what I mean? Especially men.
Yeah.
Like, so that consistency, I think, is the key. Yeah.
I was talking with someone last week. It was actually a chaplain who works with different sports teams. And he said, I'm in the presence ministry. And I loved that. He's like, I said, what do you mean? And he said, it's all about just being present. Like, I can come in and do a lesson or, give a message to the team. And that's great. And that's powerful. But then when I keep showing up at other things and I'm just present, then all of a sudden that a guy will be like, hey,
can I talk to you?
Yeah. And that is what we're seeing from allies is, the fact that we have the same mentors are showing up every single month, building relationship with these kids. And it takes time to develop the trust, but then you see that softening come and, the doors just start to open and healing.
That's so true. That's so true. Yep.
All right. The next one is that mentorship builds vision. And I think, so many young people who have been in these situations, they can't even imagine a different future. Yeah. It hasn't been modeled to them or they've never even seen it. Like our team, we learned this early on. We used to talk with the orphans and say, like, what do you want to be when you grow up? Like, what's your dream? And they couldn't answer that question because they don't know.
That's so cool.
They haven't even seen anything. One girl said, I want to be a pilot. And they realized the only reason she said that is because she's seen a plane. And so she realized, okay, there's a job out there called being a pilot, but all she's seen is this, And so that's what I think mentors can do is they can expose you to other opportunities and expand your vision. And have you seen that? Have you seen that to be true with your kids?
Yeah. I mean, a lot of these kids don't even like have, when I ask these kids what they want to be, this is kind of funny. I think 6 of them would have told you they want to be a rapper.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, dead serious.
That's what they've seen.
Yeah. And it's like,
or social media influencer.
Yeah. And I'm like, look, I mean, I don't take that away from them.
Yeah.
Like, I don't say, I actually rented a studio before, like, and we have, you know what I mean? Cool. Like, if y'all want to, and actually what it did was made them realize, oh, maybe I don't want to be a rapper.
Right,
you know what I mean? Like, maybe I thought I wanted to be a rapper, but when you put me in front of this microphone and put music on the background with all these people in here, like, I don't even want, you know what I mean? Yeah. So, I don't know. It's hard because a lot of these kids, I wish I could get them, and just you asking that question made me realize that I need to do more about getting them more experience of showing them different options that are available. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yes. Like, because they don't really get much.
You don't know what you don't know.
Yeah. And and that just made me realize that that's something that I need to do better at is maybe taking them to like tour different plants or tour different career options and stuff like that.
Right.
That
just expose them to
because I don't do a very good job of that.
I mean, I think that you're still growing and we're all still growing and there's not a shortage of need.
That's true.
And so, it will evolve. And so that's a great.
I'm glad you said it like that because I definitely don't have it all figured out. Like I've totally just wanged this whole thing.
We wing it.
We
I don't know. I know what you're saying.
I'm not sure. I've totally winged this whole thing. Like really, I just felt called to it, and like I'm basically stumbling through it. You know what I mean? Like
fail forward.
Yeah, that's totally how we've done it.
Yeah.
And just I've fell forward consistently.
Yeah.
Well,
and I think that's real, and that's what people are drawn to, authenticity. That you're not trying to say that you've got it all figured out and it's polished and perfect. It's like, hey, here's my heart. Let's work this out and figure it out.
And I've had good people in my corner that have been willing to help.
That's good.
A couple good solid mentors who have been there, that I told the vision at dinner one day and they were like, bro, I'm all in. Like, how do we help?
Right. Yeah.
And then
That's cool.
the principals who have been like, Shawn, we love what you're doing. How do we help?
Yeah.
You know, so it's like,
that's awesome.
yeah.
So the last thing I feel like we've noticed is that mentorship breaks cycles, and that
That's my favorite one.
and that it really not just breaks a cycle in your own life, but the ripple effect of how that can impact other people.
Yeah.
So how have you seen that to be
So
true?
in a lot of different ways, the cycles of, you know, especially like the kids who, like I said, whose, you know, fathers aren't around.
Yeah.
Like I lean into that, you
Yeah.
know, like not to make them feel bad, but I want them to know like, hey, when you have a kid, like you be present, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like breaking generational curses, like, hey, this is something serious, you know, think about how this, especially like even with Jerry, I'm like, think about how that feels. You know what I mean? Like make sure that when you're ready to have a kid, that you're ready to be a dad, you
Yeah.
know,
Be present.
not a baby daddy, but a father.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you want to be a father, not a baby's daddy.
Right.
Or whatever, you know. I just heard Deion Sanders say that, and I just thought that was so deep.
Yeah.
You know,
it's true.
But yeah, so that's, I mean, but cycles of addiction, cycles of abuse, you know, a lot of these kids have seen men abuse their moms, you know what I mean? And
right.
like, so, and we talk about that type of stuff.
Yeah.
Like we're open with that, you know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like I talk to these kids about, look, we're going to put our foot down and we're not going to ever hit women. We're not, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Right.
and then the cycle of not having faith, like the cycle of bringing God into, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that cycle of not having faith or, you know, so there's just, I mean, cycles there's so many of them, right? But,
Yeah.
but I think that's
you
a
gotta
really good
interrupt
one.
it.
Breaking cycles. I think that's breaking chains, you know, addiction is a huge one.
Yeah.
You know, these kids are already using drugs and stuff, you know,
Right.
like they're just like I was at their age. I mean, their story is my story, you know, and I feel like that's why at first when I walk into the place, they think I'm a cop every time.
Yeah.
And then once I tell them, hey, look, I'm not a cop.
Yeah.
Here's my story.
Oof.
And then, then
Yeah.
they're like, then they open up and it's just like, they're like, man, we have the same story or,
right.
you know, so
But yet the next chapter hasn't been written in theirs yet.
yeah. And they can do way better than me.
Yeah.
Like,
they
let me
still
show you how
have
to
an
skip
option.
the prison part,
Yes.
you know? Yeah.
Yeah. That's so good.
Those are good.
Yeah.
Those 4 are good.
Yeah, it's true. Well, I think what is so exciting is that now you're stepping into a new season by partnering with Allies in Youth Development to bring the Allies Mentoring Program to Second Chance Mentors. So let's talk a little bit about that. And what was it about that opportunity that kind of aligned with you and where you were wanting to go?
Well, first off, like I got to meet you guys at the Rotary Club sharing my story. And after I was done sharing, like there was like 4 of you sitting together and you guys like all asked like the greatest questions. And I didn't know fully about the group yet, but I was like super drawn to your little group and Chris as a leader. Like he was so proud of his little team. You know what I mean? Like he was just so welcoming and just his smile. You can just tell he's a great person, you know?
100%.
And then Tatiana started telling me about the different options and different things that they do. And I was like, I knew right away, I was like, I want to do something with you guys. Like, because it's like, you guys believed in the power of mentorship, and it's just like the difference of whether it's, you know, through orphanages or through, you know, at risk, you know, needy kids. And then Tatiana hooked me up with Sylvia, you know, who I'm talking through the WhatsApp in Africa. It was just so like, just the whole way it's all structured. And then she was like, you know, why don't you could start teaching some of these classes that we already have pre-made to your kids. And I was like, man, that's so awesome because coming up with content and stuff, like I run out of stuff, you know what I mean? I'm like, so I was like, wow, I can lean on the courses that they already create for kids. And I can start teaching that to our kids. And that just makes our program even better. And it's like, you know, Allies is getting to, you know, help more people, you know, in a different, you know, demographic in a way.
We've heard that same story around the world with leaders and that like they're already mentoring. This is their heart. This is what they feel God has called them to do. But their capacity is limited because they've got other jobs and other things. And so that's what is so beautiful about what Allies can do is just come alongside
and
people.
make us better.
Yeah, like your art, the heart and the passion's there. Let us help equip you
and then
to take
support,
it next level.
You know what I mean? Like already I can reach out to Sylvia and be like, hey, we need help with this. And she'll like create a course for us. She's willing to create a custom course for our boys. Like
I love that.
I was blown away by that.
Yeah.
And she was so like, receptive to like feedback on, hey,
Mm-hmm.
what, it's just something, it's rare. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? And
right.
like a
So
lot of times,
that's what I love. Sorry to interrupt you,
no,
but
you're
I
good.
love that we can personalize it because the needs are not all the same
Yeah.
all around the world. Obviously, there's some kids that need to know about clean water and
Yeah.
hygiene and how to take care of their bodies, and others that are dealing with human trafficking, um, temptations and
Yeah.
traps that they need to. So I love that we're able to kind of customize it,
Yeah.
and we can look at what your boys need and what gaps that you are seeing.
Yeah.
Maybe it's like you said, exposing them to different career options
Yeah.
and paths that they might
Yeah.
not even know about,
Yeah.
that we can customize that.
Yeah. And I think the first one that we're going to do is going to be financial literacy as far as like credit, things
Building
like
credit.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Building credit, maintaining credit, the importance of it. And it's just
Great.
like, I don't know how to create a course.
Yeah. Right.
You know what I mean? Like, and what else I love about Allies and just the program in general is there's so many nonprofits that I've wanted to do something, but a lot of times they don't want to collaborate. They're like, no, this is our stuff. Like we're like, you know what I mean? Like not, hey, how can we do something together and we can both benefit from it?
Yes.
A lot of nonprofits are very like, no, y'all stay over there. I don't want to share my people.
Yeah.
Or I don't want our people to hear about what you're doing. And you know what I mean? Like,
yes.
but that mentality is just,
no,
you see it a lot. Believe it or not.
I'm sure, but
so
we're a kingdom mindset.
Yeah.
And
and it's so obvious.
Yeah. That's good.
It's so obvious.
That's awesome. And I know one thing we've talked about is maybe having your boys out to here to serve.
Yeah, like starting soon.
Yeah, that's cool. So they'll be packing boxes of humanitarian aid to ship to orphans on the other side of the world. And I can see how that can be really impactful for them.
I'm excited for it because I think that will be a lot of the Mansfield Mission Center was cool, right? Because they were doing the things, but here you'll feel the direct impact. Like you have a list, right, of what this orphanage or these actually needs themselves. It's like a direct impact from the boys to someone, and that's what I feel like they'll get a lot from. And I love how you guys take a picture and put the picture in the box. So these kids are I think that's so special.
The last time I was with a group that was serving, we took a group picture and we put it in, but then there was one girl that she was packing a box by herself, and she's like, do you think it'd be okay if I drew a heart around my picture so they knew that it was actually me? And I'm like, sure. So she drew a heart around her picture and then wrote a note to them on the back, and just to provide that like human connection, that this is not just some organization or company or business. These are actually people who care and who are here for you. And
to a little orphan who doesn't have that whatsoever, like anybody writing them or caring about them whatsoever, like that could literally be life-changing.
It is. We see it.
That's so cool.
Wow. Well, Shawn, I cannot thank you enough just for your vulnerability and being transparent and allowing your story. I think a lot of times when we go through hard times, people carry like shame or they hide, and I'm just so grateful that you didn't do that, that the lives are being changed and this community is being impacted because you're willing to be like, hey, this is my story, and use it for good.
Thank you. I don't want all my negative past to just be a waste.
No.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like,
bring some good out of it.
Yeah. How do we make something good out of those years of addiction and trouble? Yeah. And this was the way that I felt like God was telling me to do it.
Yeah.
So
I love
thank you so much for letting me come and share my story.
It's been great. And I can't wait to see what comes of it next.
It's going to be cool.
Yeah.
Maybe next year we'll do it. We'll do this again, and we'll be able to tell the story of all the kids and the impact from it.
All right. Well, y'all, Shawn's story reflects how God works, really. And that is that he sends people to walk with us and to remind us of who we are in him and to help us step into the life that he has created for us. And so that is what mentorship is all about. And so if your heart is being stirred by what you've heard today, and if you believe like Shawn and I do, that every single person, every young person deserves to be seen and valued and is capable of an incredible future, then we want to invite you to be part of that story. So Allies in Youth is partnering with Shawn and Second Chance Mentors, as we've talked about, to bring hope and transformation to young men who need it the most in this community. And so we're looking for people just like you who want to join us, maybe mentors who can show up and speak life and help these kids rewrite their story So maybe that's a next step for you. Or maybe it looks like financially supporting this work and helping us reach more people and bring mentorship and healing and purpose to more youth around the world. Your giving truly does fuel the work that we're able to do. And so you can learn more about that at alliesyouth.org. And we'll also have links in the description to Second Chance Mentors, so you can learn more about them as well. And we just want to invite you to come be a part of something bigger than yourself, because really and truly, one empowered life, as we've seen today, really can change the world. So thank you so much for listening. If today's episode inspired you, please share it with a friend, subscribe, help us to get this story out into more people. All right, see you next time.